Welcome to the bold analysis. I want us to relook at this issue about IEBC, looking at what the Raila Odinga is saying, William Ruto's response, and again ask ourselves the bold question. When you follow this discussion, Raila has been calling on President William Ruto to stop with immediate effect the process of reconstituting IEBC so that he can give chance to a consensus. In what, according to him, is that William Ruto should not be allowed to single-handedly pick the new commissioners. President William Ruto has responded by saying that he cannot suspend the constitution so that he grants Raila Odinga his wishes. Of course, that process, the process of reconstituting the commission, is at a level where the selection panel was already picked and they were sworn in last week, quickly sworn in last week, and they're supposed to start receiving applications from prospecting candidates. Now, in this video, I want us to take a minute a bit and relook at that process so that we just answer a simple question. Do you think what Raila Odinga is saying, that William Ruto is single-handedly picking IEBC, is true? And when you look at that process a bit, you will actually come to see. Just starting from the reconstituting of the commission, or constituting the selection panel, UDA went to parliament and changed the rule so that now Parliamentary Service Commission, the selection panel is at 7 members. Out of the 7, 2 members come from Parliamentary Service Commission. The head of that is Moses Masika Wetangula. Let's just be factual on this. Then 2 members come from Religious Council. Let's give them a fair share, maybe 1 evangelicals, 1 Christian, and 1 maybe Muslim. 1 political party's liaison committee, that is an office that is funded by taxpayers' money and is under the office of ORPP. Then 1 is Public Service Commission. Who is the head of Public Service Commission? Felix Kosgei. Parliamentary Service Commission, Moses Masika Wetangula. Political Parties Liaison Committee. Okay. Now, Azimio withdrew from, they were supposed to present 1 candidate, the one that got to Parliamentary Service Commission, and they refused because they were questioning the process. And Parliamentary Service Commission went ahead and picked, did shortlisting, they did interviews and picked another, which I think was just a formality by law, but of course it's inflected. So to say the truth, not to say danganyane, even at that selection panel, William Ruto still have his way. That's it. They're supposed to take the name to Parliament. Parliament will vet, then take 2 names. They will actually send the names, recommendations to President. President will pick a number of 2 or 3, send to Parliament. A Parliament approves, then takes to President, then President appoints. So the President's signature, and I think the masses need to know this. Even from this process of selecting the panel, William Ruto has an upper hand, and not that it is by the virtue of the Constitution, that office. I think when we had these reforms in 2016, we did not envision that. So the question of him saying that I do not have a preferred candidate in that panelist, hapo umetudanganya. Hapo rais umetudanganya. Because you have leeway. Representation from Public Service Commission is under officer. Hapo anaweza. Even political parties liaison committee. Even this religious council, anaweza pata mmoja from parliamentary service, he can get all of them. People are, and we need to agree that now anyone who is getting a job in government is really taking that credit to President William Ruto. So most probably he's going to be in conformity with William Ruto. Now, that said and done, or rather that withstanding, I think I'm looking at one thing that we seem not to avoid. I know that it will not be easy. No one says that you need to suspend the constitution so that, listen to what Azimia saying, but there can be proposal of amendments. If people come to table, proposal of amendments that can be done, then when these amendments are pushed, probably they can take parliament approved so that all parties are involved. I want us to look at this body. And the reason why I have a feeling that President is a bit is not clear here, or rather is cheating us in this aspect, is I think he doesn't want to accept that IEBC is a body that is wounded. Let's just take it. Let's have a look back. This is a body that oversaw elections in 2017. An integral election official had to die in the name of Chris Musando days to the election, and it was really linked to manipulation, and until even that election was thrown away. We need to agree to that level. In the same elections, days to 2022 general elections, some fellows from Venezuela were actually arrested at the airport with elections materials. The story disappeared, and the public were never told what happened. The same IBC we talked about twice, elections 2017 and 2022, have a contested point on the issue of servers, by the question of servers now going on. The same electoral body we are talking about is the body that is also battling narrative that in 2022 there were foreign infiltration. The same IBC we are talking about, we also have to agree, had to postpone elections in Kakamega and Mombasa last minute, in what others could also see as a ploy that affected the last election. What am I talking about? The public confidence, the public trust in that body is down. Tusidanganyane. Right? William Ruto got 7.1 million votes that Chebukati alitangaza. Okay, other schools of thought, according to the whistleblower, it's talking about 5.6. Raila got 6.9 according to ABC, according to whistleblower 8.1. So, there are whooping 7 million people, approximately 7 million people that voted for Raila Odinga. And of course, they're also listening to Raila's messaging. So what we need to acknowledge is very simple. That the way we are forcing the new IBC down on people's throat, people will actually lack trust. And what will we see? We are actually taking a path of perpetual vote apathy. Who knows? Does it mean, could we be wrong to argue that 8 million people that abstained from election, maybe what contributed to that decision is because of lack of trust in the electoral body? Possibly so. And maybe they might have realized, is there an intelligence about who majority of areas that abstain from the vote, and maybe if it is Raila Odinga support base or William Ruto support base, what exactly that played out? So we just need to acknowledge one thing, and that's what I think the Kenya Kwanza team need to acknowledge, that that body is a custodian of election for the 22 million voters. And there are a section of voters that don't have the trust. So in terms of building the trust, even to give it easy work, even for them not to spend millions trying to win trust of the Kenyan people, I wish we will start from reconstitution so that everyone is on table. Kindly subscribe to our channel click the notification bell and like our video. I don't know what is making it difficult for us to make that observation and agree that indeed we have a problem. Coming over to elections, we've had that problem. But I can tell you that President Ruto is committed to create a perception in the minds of voters that, look here, 2027 is gone. That's it. And you listen to the son of Ndamba saying, you listen to people saying, we differentiated you with deep state, with media, and the other, all sorts of all the other deep things that were needed in elections. And so how much are you sure you're going to win this one? And but I can tell you, these defections that have been affected with that narrative that, look here, how is it to shine in 2027? We are going to win, so you stick with us here. If you don't get it, we are going to give you jobs. But you still have to stick around us. So that is a narrative that is now being created. And to the minds of voters, there's some voters that will, I can tell you, if we go that way without appreciating the fact that some other people are uncomfortable, or rather, even if it could be just said for the sake of it, but to the masses, people lack the trust. So you will be shocked to see now more than 8 million people even abstaining from the voting. Even though I'm not advocating for people to abstain, because voting is your democratic right, and we are in a democracy where majority takes the way, carries the day. So if you don't vote also, you've given those who turned up to vote their payday. So we need to look at it. But then I want to say 4 things about this matter. Because again, question that everyone else is asking, why is it that Kenya Kwanza doesn't want to listen to other people, especially in the matters of IBC? Hapa, I saw in Tharaka Nithi, President becoming bravely telling the country that I don't have preferred choice in that selection panel. Oh, hapana. Here you can control, and not that the law gives you that power to control. That's it. If the names are taken to him, you'll have a choice of picking one or the other. And even this selection panel, he can penetrate and say who he wants to be in that commission. So president's hands on who becomes the next IBC chair and commissioners cannot be rubbed off. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, the reason why William Ruto will listen to Raila Odinga in terms of everything, but in terms of this IEBC, the upcoming politics of boundaries demarcation that is happening later in the year. Yes. And that boundaries demarcation, I've seen an argument about counties to be split, an argument about the new constituencies, and it was in conformity. There are some proposals that were in BBI that were trashed, additional 70 constituencies to Mount Kenya, that Mount Kenya has been crying out for, because the fall of one man, one shilling, one vote was going to be cured by additional constituencies, which will then mean that they will get more funds in terms of CDF. And so per capitation, they're going to get more money is going to get to the region. So I want to see that if there is a place that William Ruto will want to really come in and influence directly, is that issue of boundaries demarcation. There are discussions about splitting Migori into 2. Kuria, they don't know the other side of Migori. There is a discussion about splitting, I think Kiambu is also huge. I don't know if we'll have Kiambu South and Kiambu West or something. There's also something about Narok. And the issues about splitting counties also coming into discussion about what's happening. So that's number one. I see why William Ruto is putting a lot of interest in it. The other thing why he would also, according to me, would also want to really take charge of that body is the UDA grassroots elections and the nominations that are coming, which I think he has been vouching for that. Even throughout from 2017, when he was in charge of UDA, he was actually saying that IBC should be given the mandate and the capacity to conduct even party nominations. The commission could be part of his re-election scheme. You cannot rub off this. You cannot, unless we are lying to ourselves. Chebukati was part of Ruto's election plan. That's it. Directly or indirectly, personal fortune or personal friendship or a test of or a sign of heroism, he was part of that script. So you cannot rub away the fact that an election body can actually influence and have a very big impact on who becomes the president. In this election, William Ruto is the president because of Wafula Chebukati. Whether he was used directly or indirectly, or he acted as an act of patriotism, but you cannot underestimate the role of Chebukati. And so, the new chair or the new office could also play to that card. What happens? What happens if Ruto loses? I know people don't want to reason that way. Anaweza shindwa. That's the truth. Anaweza shindwa. Kwani alishinda na 200? Alishinda na 200,000 votes. I can tell you. If you dismantle all these stories that are going on and the Mount Kenya hype and all this, you may be shocked. Even Ariran is on the offing. And at that moment, you need to invoke your all sort of deep state so that you get your re-election. So you cannot underestimate. That's what we need not to lie about. You cannot underestimate that William Ruto will still want IBC to fix his re-election. Iko. Now, I think we also want to play politics with that position. Maybe there are people who already say things somewhere and they've been told, you don't take that position, I want to give you ABC chair, so that some few days to election, you'll not be shocked to see people going to rallies and saying that we even gave your community IBC chair so that we make sure, because you guys are good people. I can tell you, we are in this country, these things happen. And that is the role of Rigiji, parading people that have been appointed in government positions so that they can be used as campaign tools. So sad, but again, that's our politics. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll meet in the next Bold Analysis.